What do procrastination and push-ups have to do with each other? And how can making a sandwich help with ADHD paralysis? Hi, I'm Dr. Ari Tuckman, a licensed psychologist, and today I'm going to be answering some of the internet's biggest questions on ADHD and procrastination. How do I stop procrastinating? This is such a common struggle. Everybody procrastinates sometimes, but if you have ADHD, you probably do a whole lot of procrastinating. It's almost like a core feature of ADHD. So here's a few things that you can do. First of all, kill the competition. Get rid of the distractions and the temptations that, let's face it, are going to be a lot more interesting than the thing that you don't really feel like doing. So as much as you can push those aside, there's going to be less pull on your attention to go there rather than to work on this thing that's more important. The other thing that you can do is to really vividly put yourself into that future situation. So later today, how do I feel if I've gotten some of this work done now? Procrastination is a common struggle, but it doesn't have to rule your life, and there are things that you can do to help manage it and get stuff done and move on to better things. How do I start and finish a task? Okay, so this is a really important question because starting is one thing, but finishing is something else. First thing is, especially if you tend to be distracted, create a really good work environment. Whatever it is for you in this moment for this task, set yourself up for success. Second thing is, just start it. Anything, one tiny thing, work on it for 1 minute. Go get one of the things that you need for this task. Look up one quick thing that you need to know in order to do this. Any kind of forward movement makes it a lot easier to then take the next step and the next and the next. Often the first step is the hardest one. And here's the last thing that I've been having a lot of fun with clients is set a dumb bet. In other words, some silly thing that is just going to kind of kick the wheels into motion, right? Get you going. So maybe it's a thing like, if I don't finish the expense report by the end of the day, then you get to pick the movie and I have to watch it without complaining. Any little thing that's going to make it a little bit more fun and give you a little bit more spark of motivation. That's the starting. Once you've gotten it going, there is this sort of temptation sometimes. There's this fear that it's got to be perfect, right? That kind of ADHD perfectionism, that hyperfocus, getting locked in. So sometimes knowing good enough is just good enough. Finish it up, hand it in, move on to the next thing. Why can't I finish anything? Yeah, it's hard to finish things when you have ADHD. There's a lot of ways that can happen. Sometimes, honestly, you just kind of forget that you didn't finish it and you still need to do it, right? And then when, oh my God, you suddenly remember it, it can feel really overwhelming and maybe you feel guilty that you didn't do it yet. Maybe you forgot the details of like, wait, where am I and what else do I need to do? And you feel too self-conscious to ask. Okay, so how do you then actually push it all the way through to the end? Well, a lot of the strategies about finishing are kind of similar to the strategies about starting. So you can use those same good ideas again, but some specific things I would recommend. First of all, take a step back, right? Take a look at what you've done. Figure out, what do I need to do here? Do not overcomplicate it. Do not make it better than it needs to be. Don't make it worse than it needs to be either, but just get it done. Use your anxiety, right? A little bit of anxiety is actually good. It can be a good motivator. It kind of lights the spark that gets you through to the end. But really, it's about feeling good about the work that you've done and really reminding yourself of what that's going to feel like to know that you've done a good job on this. What is ADHD paralysis and how do I deal with it? This is a really common experience. It's this sort of momentary feeling of just being completely overwhelmed, right? I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do next. I can't figure it all out. I almost can't even think about it. First, most important thing, just take a deep breath and then maybe take another one. Give yourself a little bit of grace. Recognize this is a thing that happens. It doesn't have to be a big deal. Next thing is just get yourself moving. Stand up, shut down the computer. I don't know, do a couple push-ups to get your heart rate up. Maybe go grab a snack. Maybe shake it off a little bit. And then you just got to figure out the first thing to do. Or honestly, any first thing to do. Sometimes just picking anything and getting into motion, it begins to come into focus. You sort of figure out what the path through is that you need. Now, having said this, if like everything feels too hard, if life has sort of lost its spark and you're just not enjoying things the way that you used to, if you're feeling kind of disconnected from the people around you, that might mean that there's something more going on. And if that's the case, it's probably time to talk to someone. Maybe it's a friend or a family member, possibly it's a professional, but if it's too hard, maybe it doesn't need to be as hard as that. Do you ever struggle with ADHD paralysis? If so, let us know in the comments and share what your favorite strategy is to get yourself going again. Why am I always late? Time can be such a struggle when you have ADHD. In fact, it's even been said that folks with ADHD have a bit of what's called time blindness, meaning it's hard to see time. It's hard to see the progression of time. It's hard to see how long things are going to take. Therefore, it's really hard to plan and coordinate your activities in relation to time. Common struggle. But the good news is there's definitely some things that you can do about it. So first idea is make sure that there's plenty of clocks around, especially in the places where you tend to get stuck. Don't rely on your internal memory. Be really clear about setting up external ways of tracking time. You can set reminders on your phone pretty easily, or other little reminders that you can set in the world. Or if you want to track time in a more fun way, I don't know, put on a podcast that's a certain length with autoplay off, by the way. So when it stops playing, you notice and hear and realize, uh-oh, I need to get going. Another thing to do is to be really intentional about what you start before it's time to shift over into something else. Part of ADHD is it makes it harder to say, nope, not that. That's not what I'm doing now. This is what I'm doing now. So being really intentional about what happens before is going to make it a lot easier to make that transition at the right time. How does ADHD affect productivity? Well, negatively, often. ADHD can affect productivity in so many ways, which can have an impact on so many parts of your life. ADHD makes it harder to pay attention and gather in all the details that you need to do for the task at hand. It makes it harder to stay on track and to resist the distractions that might pull at you. It makes it harder to come back to where you left off when you do get interrupted. So in all of these ways, ADHD can make productivity harder. Now, there is the other side of it, right? Sometimes for a lot of folks with ADHD, when they're like jammed up against a deadline, right? They're right up against it. All of a sudden, their brain lights up, everything comes into focus, and you can be incredibly productive during that piece of time. It's great, but it can also come at a cost in terms of what else you need to do, in terms of things that other people might be hoping from you, getting enough sleep, eating, the other things that you need to do to take care of yourself and have a balanced day. Absolutely, ADHD can affect your productivity. It's one of the many reasons to really understand your ADHD and do what you need to do to manage it more effectively. Does ADHD make you lazy? Actually, it's the opposite. If you have ADHD, you're probably working a whole lot harder than other people are. And perhaps it feels like you're working a whole lot harder than you should have to. Now, where it gets complicated is it's easy for other people to look at what you're doing, or not doing, and have ideas about it. And it's easy then to feel like you're being judged. It's easy to be discouraged and kind of get down on yourself and sort of buy into this idea that you're just being lazy or you don't care enough, which only makes it harder to do the work that you need to do. This is one of the many reasons why it's so important to get an accurate diagnosis of ADHD, to really understand what it means for you, to understand then what are the better strategies that are going to help you be more effective and get more done, not have to work so hard to do it all, so that you can live that better life that you want to live, and honestly, to live the better life that you kind of deserve to live. Did you like this video? If you did, we have a lot more resources like these on our channel. So go ahead and subscribe to get the latest research and tips from top experts, like me, on learning and thinking differences, such as ADHD and dyslexia.